Who do you have in the 2026 draft? My bet is on the whiskey. What is up, my friends? It is your host, Nick Anderson, also known as Amongst the Whiskey, and today we are getting into a barrel pick draft from Liberty Pole Spirits. Yes, in honor of the 2026 NFL Draft, the fine folks at Liberty Pole Spirits have sent along 4 different barrel pick samples, and they're looking for feedback. They want you to go down to their bar and pick your number 1 draft pick. I just want to say I've heard a lot of scouting reports. Everybody is loving all of these, and so I really don't know who to trust at this point. So I'm going to sit down and taste all 4 of these blind. I'm not going to pay attention to the stats. I'm not going to pay attention to the details. I will give you those at the end of this video. So the only thing I know about these guys are their names. First sample is the Flyin Hawaiian. Second sample is going to be Soft Hands. Third sample, Midwestern Farm Boy. That's a dope name. And the fourth sample, the Local Kid. Well, there's no better way to pick them than to taste them. That goes for barrel samples, not the players. I'm using my Weeg lens from the Spirit Animal Society. We had a very limited run of these barrel staves made up with Weeg lens with the 4 pillars of the Spirit Animal Society. Run, fly, swim, drink. Incredible set. Makes for tasting in these small glasses. A breeze keeps me in the game, keeps the pours a little smaller when you're doing 4 at a time. You know, helps to make sure that the coach is going to make the right choices. And that 4th sample. All right, I am stoked for this. Like I said, I'm going to go left to right here, starting on the Flyin Hawaiian. Oh yeah, this smells like a classic bourbon mash bill. I'm definitely getting a little more corn out of this. That smells like it could run right up the middle and get by just about everybody. On to the taste. Okay. That is definitely going to be a contributing player. That is not a bench warmer. That's definitely on a draft contender list. Ooh, right away, awesome notes of like creme brulee, a little bit of flan. Definitely leans towards those caramels, those kind of brown sugars, and just a hint of the base grain. I can tell this is maybe on the younger end, maybe a 4-year whiskey here. Oh yeah, little molasses on the back end. Really solid sipper. If you're looking for a pour that's going to slice through the defense like a hot knife through butter, the Flyin Hawaiian. That's your guy. All right, on to the second glass here. I believe this one was called Soft Hands. Yes. Let's see how Soft Hands does in the nose. Ooh. More vanilla, more confectioner's sugar, a little more maple rather than the caramel in the nose. Ooh, softer, silkier. This is the one that's got a little suave. This one's going to get in trouble after the game. On to the taste. Wow. Buttery but fruity. Definitely still thinking that bourbon category. Maybe a touch lower in proof, or maybe similar proof. For me, this is the viscosity. This has those heavy oils, the silky mouthfeel that I'm looking for when I want to drink a really good craft bourbon, this has it. Soft Hands just has that it factor. You know that is going to be a star. Spectacular. And now it is time to get after the Midwestern Farm Boy. Ooh, this one's going to be a fast runner. Ooh, this one might get away from some people. Oh yeah, off the sprint line, this is going to smoke these other two. But does it have the depth, the complexity to understand all the nuances of the game? Let's find out. Oh my gosh, that's a rye and that's delicious. Oh my. Oh, the lemony tones, the cream cheese layer, that creaminess. It's even more creamy than Soft Hands here. But it's definitely got a little edge. It's got a little X factor. You know, you might tug on your jersey a little bit when the game's on the line. Probably will get away with it too. Wow, that is a handsome whiskey. That is just delightful. And I mean the oily legs dripping down that. Definitely has a touch of like malt funk in the background, a little bit of that dark molasses, maybe even a treacle. That dark black tea, just like heavy. There's just heavy tones there. Some really heavy notes that I'm really enjoying. All right, now we got to find out about the local kid. It's always the local kid. It's like some underdog story. It's, you know, Tom Brady, right? It's the local kid. He just comes out of nowhere. And he's suddenly the best thing that ever happened. Holy shit, what is happening in this nose? That's got to have some kind of finish on it. Yeah, that's got to have something to it. That's not just whiskey right there. That's got some notes that don't typically come out of just distillation and mashing and aging. Now, what on earth is it? That's gonna rack my brain for the next 20 minutes, I'm sure. It's buttery? Is it a popcorn finish? Oh, I've got some homebrew friends that always bring over these barrel-aged weird beers. They might be sours or they might be stouts, but they're like, there's always something just like weird about them that I really enjoy. It's always a great palate challenge to taste something new, something that you don't normally do, and find out that maybe you do or maybe you don't like it, and that's okay, but it expands your taste horizon. This one I'm having a hard time pinning down. I'm going to taste to find out. Could it be a wheat beer? A barrel-aged wheat beer? No, people don't barrel-age wheat beers. I'm really thinking sour. Oh, I just smacked my tongue. This has got to be like a barley wine finish. This has got to be a barley wine finish. Come on. Tell me that's not. Tell me that's not a barley wine finish. Where are the stats on this dang thing? That kid's going places. The local kid's definitely going places. It does have like a stout creaminess too. The base whiskey, I can't tell. Maybe it's a bourbon, maybe it's a rye. Maybe it's something close. Maybe it's like a barely legal rye, maybe. All right, I spent way too much time trying to dissect what the heck it was. Here's how it tastes. Okay, so in the mouth, peach rings, pear, very juicy, very mouth-watering tones. Obviously very, very drinkable. Its weird factor, I think, is going to put off some people. And that's okay. If you're going in expecting a whiskey, this is just not going to be a plain whiskey. It is very much a finished whiskey. It has been transformed by the barrel that it aged in, and I'm assuming that it is a sour or a barley wine barrel, because those tones just don't get replicated in any other style of beer, wine. It definitely doesn't feel like a wine finish. And thinking through some Pennsylvania local lore, there's probably a few breweries around to finish these things in, to experiment together. All right, I'm going to run right back down the line just for posterity's sake, just to make sure I'm making the right choice with my draft pick. Flyin Hawaiian, still stand by my statement. Just going to shred through right up the middle, ruin people's day because he's just so damn fast. Soft hands is the sleeper. He's the player that you look at him and you're like, yeah, he's not going anywhere. I got him covered. And then you blink and he's by you and you're screwed. He just put up 7 points on you. Yeah, that's absolutely a contender for my draft pick. I just know he is a stud. This just speaks to my heart. This speaks my language. This is rye grain through and through, and all of the wonderful characteristics that come with it. I mean, I look at that whiskey and I see some very heavy components just floating around in there. There's definitely some chance for flocculation if this were to get colder. I mean, that is an oily, I'm assuming non-chill filtered, awesome rye whiskey. Last taste. Yeah, I find myself savoring that the most. It just, I know it's going to fit in on my team. I'm glad that didn't tip over. I know this is going to fit in on my team. Midwest Farm Boy is the score to beat at this point, I say. And can this funky, oily monster at the end, the local kid, can it upset the Midwestern Farm Boy? As much as I wanted it to, no, the Midwestern Farm Boy is my 2026 Liberty Pole Spirits draft pick of the year. Just gonna do a little more scouting on that one. Cheers, friends. Oh, and I almost forgot. We gotta do the reveal on these guys. I gotta tell you what these are. I forgot. Okay, here comes the reveal. I have the scouting report card from Liberty Pole Spirits. In the orange prospect, we have the Flyin Hawaiian. It is barrel 875. It is a wheated bourbon. I said bourbon. I did not get wheated bourbon vibes. That's really interesting. 72% corn, 18% wheat, 10% malted barley. Well, I was on the right track that it wasn't a rye at least. It is a 4-year, 6-month barrel. Entered into the barrel 9/22/2021. Aged on the second floor of the Rick House. Liberty Pole claims that the character intangibles for this one, it is a game changer. It has elite instincts. It refused to take the Wonderlic IQ test and wore sunglasses to the interview. What a legend. The Green Prospect, that was my pick. The Green Prospect, Midwest Farm Boy. It is barrel 766. It is a rye whiskey. I nailed that. Went into the barrel 3/17/2021. It is 108.4 proof. It is 5 years old. Oh, sorry. The entry proof was 108.4. It has been aged for 5 years and is now 111.08 proof. It is a 95% rye, 5% malted barley mash bill. So the Pennsylvania version of the 95.5 mash bill. Pretty cool. It was aged on the 3rd floor of the Rick House. The character intangibles from Liberty Bowl Spirits say that this is a high whiskey IQ. It's a sneaky fast despite the slow 40-yard barrel roll time. I said it had a really fast sprint. It's a durable bookend type. We like that. The pink prospect is soft hands. I would call that more red if I was looking at the label, but I'm a little colorblind, so whatever. The pink prospect soft hands barrel 863. It is a wheated bourbon. Nice. I think I called that a bourbon as well. Again, didn't get wheated bourbon vibes, but that's okay. Went into the barrel 9/29/2021. Went into the barrel at 106.5. Aged for 4 years, 6 months. Came out of the barrel. Well, is currently proofed at 112.6. It's the same 72% corn, 18% wheat, 10% malted barley. This was aged on the 4th floor, so a little higher than our Flyin Hawaiian. The character intangibles from Liberty Pole Spirits say that this is a high ceiling whiskey, as in it was on a high Rick House floor. It's pro ready. Great coverage despite a complete lack of vertical leap. Barrels can't leap. Nice one, Liberty Pole. And in summary, a 5-star weeder. And that leaves our blue prospect, the Local Kid. It is a weird barrel ID. Oh my gosh, that's because it's a rye whiskey finished in East End barley wine barrels. Who called that? Who called that? That's why I'm the coach, guys. That's why I'm the coach. You thought you were going for the coach role? I got that seat filled. That was a good guess. I have recently tasted a barley wine from my friend Marco. Shout out if you're watching this. So, stats on this one. Barrel entry date 9/23/2020. So, 5 years, 6 months total age, and 1 year and 9 months of that was aged in the barley wine barrel. I have to smell this again. How did I... It's so obvious. If you've ever had barley wine, you could pick that out of a lineup of 100 samples, I swear. Oh. Current proof on this one is 107.4. It is a 74% rye, 13% wheat, and 13% malted barley. Very interesting mash bill. No corn in there. Very cool. The character intangibles for this one from Liberty Pole Spirits is that it has a transfer portal success story. Loves Pittsburgh. Wants to be here. Explosive. I agree on the explosive part. That was just a bonkers whiskey. I like that they also offer historic single barrel comparisons, and there are none for this one. It is the first of its kind. So, super cool. I want to see this released. I want to taste that again. That is one I want to have on a fresh palate and just like really decide how much I truly like it versus its unique factor. Because barley wine finished rye? Who does that? Super cool. I am going to turn in my draft card, folks. I am all in on the the Midwest Farm Boy. He is a stud. Now, can I get back to what I wanted to do? I'm going to go enjoy this dram. Cheers.